Welcome, everyone. You have tuned into a session of BCPS's College and Career and Life Readiness course. In this session, we will be discussing the process of applying to college, aka College 101. Our featured presenter is Ms. Sherry Bush from Cypress Bay High School. Ms. Bush, let's go. Are you there with us?
I am here and I am ready. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So, Ms. Bush, we are going to get right into it. You're the expert for today. With that being said, please take it away.
Great. So, welcome, juniors, and welcome to the college application process. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, but I think it's a lot of good information and hopefully will be very helpful to you. So, I want to start by talking about the message. The message is pretty clear. Colleges are looking for students who really want them. They want students who have purposeful direction with their education. Right now, more students than ever are applying to multiple schools. So be thoughtful about the schools that you're applying to. Apply early. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. There are 12 great Florida options. Try not to focus on the big three. Look at some of these other wonderful options that are located all throughout the state. Schools today are saying, it's not just about being a holistic applicant. We want to see that you fit. How do you fit at our school? Where will you be active? What will you be doing if you were to come here? And again, pursue the school that you really want. This is a stressful process, and so the way to make it a little less stressful is to be thoughtful and methodical about the way you're doing things and go through the process as carefully as you can. So let's start. Let's start by understanding that there are several things that are in your control. The things that are in your control are grades, test scores, rigor, your extracurriculars, your essays, and of course the fit. But there are things that are out of your control. The class composition, the male-female ratio. Colleges are looking at legacies, diversity, students from underrepresented areas, athletes, and of course the different majors. So you have to be true to who you are when you're going through this process and realize that there is a piece of it that is out of your control. The feedback that we're getting from the colleges is clear. They don't want you to look and to focus on what looks good. They want you to focus on what feels good. Okay, if you're involved in computer science at school and that's something that you're active in, then great. Be doing things outside of school that match your academic interests. Perhaps design an application or build an algorithm to track the hours for your National Honor Society. Schools are really looking at how you reacted to setbacks, and they care that you care more about your community than just yourself. I've heard a lot of feedback saying we want to see students that spent 4 years serving others as opposed to just serving themselves. So this is a great time to get involved in your community. The application piece of this is important. Colleges are looking at 5 different things. The first thing they're looking at is your academic core GPA. They're going to recalculate your GPA at the end of your junior year based on the 5 core subjects: math, science, English, history, and foreign language. And that is really important that you do as well as you can, especially right through the end of junior year. That doesn't mean senior year grades don't matter, but you definitely want to work as hard as you can to finish out that junior year. They're also looking at rigor of curriculum, how much you've challenged yourself at your school. If your school offers AP classes or ACE classes or honors classes, you took the highest level of classes that you can be successful in. The next thing they're looking at is test scores, SAT or ACT. Every college in the country right now will take either one of those tests. And you want to take them multiple times to try and get the super score, which I'll talk about in a moment. The fourth thing is your extracurriculars, your leadership, your community service, what you've done besides going to school and take tests. How did you stand out? How did you get involved? And the last thing, of course, is the application. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's start by talking a little bit about the essay. The essay is one of the most important parts of the application. It's your voice. It's your opportunity to have your 2.5-minute interview, to talk about what you're passionate about. It's a chance for them to hear about something other than what's already in your application. So this is an opportunity for you to talk about really the things that you want them to know about you. And this is a really important piece of the application because it really is something other than, like I said, what else is covered in the transcript. The colleges are saying, listen, in the essays, we want to hear you be passionate. We want to hear the why factor, not just that you love being an engineer and you want to be an engineer, but why you want to be an engineer. They want you to really use your voice. It's okay for you to get some constructive feedback and some comments about your grammar and your tone and your flow, but that essay really should be reflective of who you are. It should be really an essay that somebody could pick up and say, I know exactly who wrote this. So again, an essay tells me three things: who you are, what matters to you, and why it matters. Your voice is a critical piece of this application. Next is the letters of recommendation. And this is also a tricky part for some of our students because the colleges have said we really want them from academic core teachers junior or senior year. So this is an opportunity for you to go to a teacher who may have really gotten a chance to know you. Not the teacher where you sat in the back of the room and got the easy A, but a teacher where maybe you struggled a little bit and they got to see your true personality. This is a letter that has to cover your integrity, your character, your work ethic, what you brought to the classroom. What would the class look like if you weren't there that day? This is such a great opportunity for a teacher to really give some context as to who you are and give that added push for a college so that they can get to know you other than your grades and scores. Don't assume that the guidance counselor knows to write a letter. Make sure you go to them. Bring them a cheat sheet if you can, a little bit about you. This is not a time to be humble. Give them information that you want them to put in your letter so that the colleges can see, again, exactly who you are and what you're bringing to their campus community. The fit. That's also the last piece of really what helps you stand out, because as you know, there are over 4,000 colleges in the United States alone. And so how could you possibly fit at all 4,000? So you really need to figure out where you fit and why you fit at that school. I always tell the students, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Have some dream schools, some safety schools, and some good schools in between. Really figure out, where it is that you're going to be happy. Look at the location of the school. Look at the majors that they offer. Look at the campus environment. Is that something that's going to be comfortable for you? Do you want a college town? Or do you want maybe a city school? Do you want a smaller school? Do you want a larger school? These are all things that you should be thinking of when you build your list of colleges that you're applying to. Ivy League schools are a little trickier. There are 8 of them, as you know, and those schools are putting a high value on the types of students that they're looking for. As I've said before, they want students who want and are going to add value to their community. They're not necessarily adding up the AP classes and your high GPA. Every student applying to those schools has that. But really, what activities are you going to engage in? How are you going to be a big part of that community? They're looking to build a diverse, a unique campus. And so they want to see what you're passionate about. And maybe that passion is something that's really going to resonate with them. So don't automatically think, well, I don't have the grades or I don't have the scores. Put yourself out there. If there's one of the 8 Ivies that's very compelling to you and you think you're a perfect fit and you've been a strong student and worked hard and done well, put your application in, give yourself an opportunity, but be very clear on the fact that they are looking for how students are really did take advantage of the resources at their high school and what did they contribute in their community and really how are they going to be an asset to that school. Next, I want to get into the transcripts. As you know, you'll be sending a transcript to the colleges, and that's a complete record of your high school grades. It will include all the middle school classes you took in high school. It will include any classes you took at Broward College. So remember, anything that you did while you're in high school is on a transcript. Even if you took a class for grade forgiveness, that original grade will be on the transcript as well. Many colleges are gravitating away from the transcript for right now and requesting something called the SAR, the Student Self-Academic Report. And that's where you record all the classes you took and the grades you got. And that's a very easy thing for you to figure out when you go into your virtual counselor under graduation information. Everything is listed there. The majority of Florida schools are now saying we would like you to fill out the SAR. It's one SAR that could be connected to all of the different schools. And that's a valuable resource for them because they're able to download it and make it simpler for them to pull in all the classes you took and the grades you got. There are sample SARs that are out there that are available, and you'll need to update it from time to time. But the good news is once you link it, you can still go back in and make changes and relink it. So the key, of course, is to do it properly and thoughtfully, because at the end of the process, you will have to submit a final transcript, and it should match the SAR that you submitted. Application fees range anywhere between $30 to $100. Students on free and reduced lunch can get waivers through College Board, and that's a great resource for them to utilize. Testing. Every school in the country, as I've said before, will take either the SAT or the ACT. Right now, the schedule for the test dates are a little bit up in the air, but those will be solidified in the next few weeks. And most colleges will take up until November or December of senior year for testing. So students should and can test multiple times to try and achieve that super score. And that is pulling in the best individual scores from however many tests you take to get the highest super score. Right now, every school in Florida will super score the SAT, and every school in Florida will super score the ACT with the exception of UCF in Orlando. The SAT is offered free at all Broward County schools during the month of March. There are great resources out there. Khan Academy is excellent. As you can see on the slide, there's no penalty for wrong answers, and there's an optional essay that most schools right now are not requiring, but you should definitely check ahead of time and see if they need it. Subject tests are only for the higher level schools, and right now many of them are saying they're optional. Those are individual sub-tests that you can take 3 at one time in various subjects, and that shows the college that you may have mastered that material. Of course, the highest score you can get is an 800, and you can test multiple times and take 3 subject tests at one time if needed. You see the difference between the SAT and the ACT. They're very similar right now. They're graded the same. Both have 4 sections. The 1600 is the highest score for an SAT, 36 for an ACT, and they both go up to about Algebra 2 trigonometry. The difference is the ACT has a science section, but it's not traditional science. It's more like analyzing charts and data and then answering questions. The ACT also moves a little bit quicker, but as I said before, they're very similar tests. Right now, there's the Florida schools are looking at various numbers for their criteria. This is a range of a core GPA, a range of an SAT score, a range of an ACT score. This range fluctuates every year, and they certainly take students above the range and below the range every year. So what's happening with the Florida schools and their applications? UF is going to be available in late August. They'll all be coming out fairly, soon towards the middle to end of summer. The Common App application is always available fairly early. It will go down and go up again, usually around August 1st. But as you can see, the essays are available now, and students can start working on their essays, now while they have some time. And as it will take multiple drafts, and you want to make sure that you do, work through these applications thoughtfully and carefully. UF deadline right now is November 1st. Their decision is usually the second Friday in February. Sometimes that changes. This year they moved it to the end of February. FSU, different deadlines will be happening as well, December 1st. Many of the schools right now are on something called rolling admission. And that means you can apply at any time, and they will typically let you know 4 to 6 weeks later. What I think it really means is you want to get your application in as soon as possible. This is certainly the case of the early bird catches the worm. And so the earlier you apply, the better that is in terms of getting a response earlier. And everybody wants to hear back from schools earlier rather than later. So rolling admission means getting things in early and, of course, still being thoughtful and careful about the process. May 1st is the day that everybody must make a decision by, May 1st of their senior year. So you have, even though you may get a decision back in October or November, you can certainly wait and see what other decisions come in and not be stressed to make a decision until May 1st. UF this year received a record number of applications, 49,000. They offered admission to over 14,000. As you can see, the range was pretty high of a core GPA between a 4.4 and a 4.6. They would like students to stay on the calculus track. They are, very clear about the fact that students are competing against each other within their school. So one student from one school would never compete with a student from another school. So you want to keep yourself as competitive as possible, work as hard as you can. But again, my philosophy is take the highest level of classes that you can be successful in. It is all about doing well in your academic core classes. UF has rolled out a couple new programs in the last several years, one being the Innovation Academy and the other being the PACE program. Those are two online programs that students can apply to. One is on the application, the other UF will decide whether or not they're going to give it to you, but it still gives you an opportunity to study at the University of Florida through their online programs, still go to football games, join fraternities and sororities, and have a UF diploma. So there are 6 points of entry into UF, with the regular admit, the PACE program, and the Innovation Academy being 3 of the most popular. Florida State also is offering several different pathway programs. This year, they had a record number of applications with over 63,000, a 7% increase from last year. They are building a freshman class of 6,200, and their GPA went up as well to between a 4.1 and a 4.5 core for fall, a 3.9 to a 4.4 for summer. I'd like to point out their CARE program for first-generation students and students with financial need. It's an excellent program. The profile is between a 3.6 and a 4.3, and an SAT of a 1080 to a 1200, and an ACT of a 21 to 26. This is an excellent program that students who fall into that category should look into. University of Central Florida, as I said, is on rolling admission, and they continue to be a competitive school, being the second largest school in the country right now at 68,000 strong. You want to work as hard as you can to get into UCF. Again, applying early is the key, and they may defer students, and that's okay. Just go ahead and send your first quarter or your first semester grades when they're available, and that will certainly strengthen your application. FGCU, FAU, FIU, all wonderful options, also on rolling admission. Some other great schools, UNF in Jacksonville, USF in Tampa. Great options here in the state of Florida. Less holistic, more about the GPA, and senior schedule also matters. Broward College is a wonderful option for students who want to get their associate's degree before moving on for their 4-year degree. There are great options within the state, whether it's Tallahassee Community College, Valencia, Santa Fe, but right here in our backyard, Broward College offers students the opportunity to get their associate's degree and then transfer over to one of the 4-year universities. And of course, we have wonderful trade school options, and we students can certainly take advantage of that, as well as military options. If you get deferred or you get waitlisted, as I said before, you want to send your first semester grades, send any new information since the application has gone in. Of course, try and retest if testing was the issue. And if appropriate, feel free to send another letter of recommendation. This process, as I said, is stressful. And it's easy to get discouraged, but I'm asking you not to be discouraged. I'm asking you to be optimistic, because there are so many options out there, and you can keep going back and getting people to support you and advocate for you. And really, at this time, you should be your best advocate. There are plenty of options to get into schools. The ranges are ranges. Open yourself up to other opportunities. And some of you that may have had a blip somewhere along the way, you had a tough semester because of a family issue or a financial issue or any type of issue, that's okay. There's a section on every college application called additional comments or extra information. Explain it. Colleges see blips all the time. They just need to understand them. So explain what happened so you can give the college some context as to what happened and why it happened, so they can move past that. And most importantly, stay positive, be relentless. There are other factors in this decision process. As I said to you at the very beginning, there's only so much in your control. Your academic interest and integrity is so important. You have to be looking at purposeful direction, meaning if you're very interested in medicine and you're taking classes like chemistry and biology, then maybe you should be volunteering at the local hospital or shadowing a doctor or seeing if you could do some online research for one of the local medical facilities. That's what they want to see, that you're doing things that match your interest in your school. I have students, as I've said, that love computer science, and they've built algorithms for clubs to track their hours. They've developed apps. They've done things right from the comfort of their own bedroom that were so exciting and beneficial that the colleges loved that, and they were happy to see that. So keep doing those types of things. You don't need to be in 17 different clubs. Do 2 or 3 of them and make a difference in them and show consistency with them. I'm going to go quickly through the Common App. That's a big application that over 800 schools are using, 7 essays. I've given you the information how to access them, and the guidance counselors and your teachers will upload your letters of recommendation directly into the Common App. There are several ways to apply to school: ED, EA, single choice EA. They're all somewhat complicated, but very straightforward, if that makes sense. The best thing you can do is when you're applying to schools, just look to make sure that there isn't a specific type of decision process that you need to click off. All the Florida schools have one application deadline or a rolling application, so you don't need to worry about ED or EA for the Florida schools. But for these higher level schools or these highly selective schools, you want to look to see what your options are and see if you want to go down any of those roads. ED is a binding application, which means you're applying to one school early, and if you get in, you're committed to attending. The Coalition application is a new application that developed several years ago. Over 140 schools are using it. Most schools are using it in conjunction with the Common application. There are a few schools like University of Maryland and University of Texas that are only using the Coalition application, but definitely look at the application. It's fairly straightforward, and you want to, be thoughtful going through this process as well. It works very similarly to the Common application. So how do you pay for school? There's multiple ways, and I know that's going to be at a different presentation, but there's what I always say is the most important thing you can do right now is every college website has a net price calculator, and you can run the numbers and put in your family's personal financial information, and it will do a quick calculation and spit out something called the EFC, the expected family contribution. So feel free to do that so that this is not a surprise as to what your family would need to pay if you were going to that school. It's not a fun surprise. It's a real number that you would want to know well in advance so you can plan accordingly. Picking your major. How do I know what I want to do with the rest of my life? Most people don't know that, and that's okay. The two most popular majors in the country right now are undecided and general studies. Okay, you don't have to declare your major until end of sophomore year, beginning of junior year of college. So you have lots of time to explore and figure that out. And in the meantime, there are great resources for you to take advantage of, whether it's virtual tours or college websites, college fairs, college tours. Right now, I challenge you to take advantage of all of these wonderful opportunities that are out there. That's a great thing for you to sort of figure out where I might want to go, and more importantly, what I think I might want to study, knowing that you have lots of flexibility once you get there. College visits are great. As I said, feel free to do the virtual tours, and a great way, if they do visit your school, to ask specific questions and make a personal connection with the person that might be reading your application. You never want to communicate with a college unless you have something thoughtful to say. You've looked at that email carefully. It's directly from you. You're asking some specific good questions, and you really have some good communication going. As I said, that's not a bad thing to do, to reach out with a college, but make sure that your questions are thoughtful and carefully, thought through, so that you can, come across in the best possible way. Summer programs. Students right now are looking for things to do. Internships, job shadowing. Jobs are great. If you love the water and you love the beach and you want to be a lifeguard, that's okay. Colleges love kids that work. They understand students have to help their families. So the highly selective programs, those are great too, where you have to apply and they choose you, and then often they pay for them as well. These are some great websites for picking majors and figuring out, again, what you might want to do. Big Future, College Navigator, your Naviance account. Those are great ways to figure out what areas I might want to pursue. And finally, students with disabilities. There are some great schools out there that target great accommodations for students that may need them. I've listed a few: Lynn University, Florida Gulf Coast. Colleges will follow many of the accommodations if you have them in high school, if you bring them to the college office there and sit with them and explain to them what you needed, what you had, and how you were successful using those accommodations. They're not obligated to give them to you, but if you sit with the Office of Disabilities or Adaptive Services, they will look at those accommodations and hopefully incorporate them into your academics there at the university level. So finally, some helpful hints. As I said, a lot of this throughout the presentation, you are competing against your own peers at the same high school. You want to be very thoughtful about your college email account. Okay, this is a time to have a professional, grown-up email, and once you have started applying to colleges, you must check that email every night. Colleges will not text or tweet you, so checking your email is critical. Try working on getting your letters of recommendation now. Start working on your resume now. Senior year, critical that you cannot come down with a terrible case of senioritis. You have to work hard, and your grades have to reflect how well you did freshman, sophomore, and junior year, or that could come back to hurt you. So senior year is very important. And finally, as I said, parents should not be communicating with colleges. The email should be coming directly from the students. If interviews or auditions are available and you're auditioning for music or dance, any of those things, please take advantage of them if you can. But the time to look up that information is sooner than later, because those dates fill up quickly and you want to make sure you have every opportunity. Keep track of all your passwords and usernames. It's not your traditional password you've had forever. A lot of the passwords are complicated, and so you want to make sure you have them all written down and kept in a safe place. And most importantly, don't rush the process. This is where careless mistakes happen. Go slowly, go thoughtfully, look at everything. Have somebody who you like and trust go over everything, and have another set of eyes go through it all and make sure it's been done carefully. This is your opportunity to put your best foot forward, and you want to do that. So I'll end on that note, and I appreciate the fact that were engaged and listening to everything I had to say. I'll leave you on this note. The college you go to does not define you. There are many wonderful dream schools out there and where you are happy is where you will be successful. And so I wish you all well, and thank you very much for your time today.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Bush. I mean, I'm on a whole nother level of excitement right now. So thank you for sharing such valuable information for our students and families. And guys, it's never too early to start planning for your college and career. Although stressful, it's so exciting. You have total control of your actions from this point. If you're engaged, if you're excited, if you are ready, let's go. Let's get this process started. Be proactive. Being proactive is the key to this process. The best thing, again, as I said, about this session is that you can listen to Ms. Bush over and over again, as many times as you want until you're comfortable to get started. Thank you again, Ms. Bush, and until the next session, have a great day.